Joining us now on After the Dead, you might be catching him on Talking Dead, but he is no longer on The Walking Dead because Richard was killed by Morgan. Karl Makinen is here for After the Dead. Karl, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Happy to be here, but not to be dead on the show.
Yeah, you're looking very much alive. That is good to know. Your performance had me a little worried that you were so method that you really went through with that. It was pretty impressive. But seriously, this is a tremendous send-off for any character. You were brilliant. But before we get into the details of tonight's episode and this send-off, I'm just wondering what this entire experience has been like for you on The Walking Dead.
Well, it's absolutely been incredible. Right from the very beginning in the casting process, Sherry, Thomas, and Gohar and Sharon cast me in it. When I went to the audition, it was a big, long dialogue of a made-up character that I felt pretty well at. I did a good job. And then Sherry was like, "Hey, can you ride a horse?" And I was like, "Yes, I can ride horses, but I don't like them." And she's like, "Please don't tell the producers that." And I got through the whole horse thing. But the experience on the show, I mean, I didn't start watching the show until I got the part, and then I binge watched the whole thing. And when I saw my first episode that I saw was season 6, the episode 9, and I turned it on, and there's the Saviors, the motorcycle gang meeting up with the original cast, Rick and everybody, and the guy is going through this awesome monologue, and I'm like, oh my God, this actor is incredible, and I'm just blown away. And then all of a sudden, Daryl comes out and blows them all up, and I'm like, they did not just kill that great actor. They could have not done that. Please tell me they didn't do that. It has to be a dream. Sure enough, they killed him, and I was like, oh my God, I have to be great now. And it was intense to know how great the writing is and the acting. And then when I got there, how professional everybody is. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah. Well, speaking of all these actors and everything, and you binged the show and you caught up and everything, I'm wondering, this season has been so scattered and everything. Did you have a chance to even meet guys like Jeffrey Dean Morgan or Andrew Lincoln or some of the actors who play characters who you didn't interact with?
I hardly met. I didn't meet the whole cast.
Wow.
And the little bit that I worked with, I didn't meet Jeffrey, and I wanted to meet him. I saw him for lunch. We sat down for lunch, and he was there, but we didn't have a chat. He was talking to other people, so I didn't even get to talk to him. And then I briefly, got to talk to Rick, because the scene where they get introduced to the kingdom, where me and Carlos picked them up, that was a little surreal for me, because when I started binge watching it, I got into it. I was like, oh my God, this show is amazing. And I felt like I knew these people. And when I was going to do my scene, I was walking up this hill, and Rick and the original cast was in wardrobe, and they were walking towards me, and I was like, what? It was very, very surreal. And I did get my scene with Rick, which I was very happy to work with him, because he's awesome, and the original cast, but it was very brief, and I wish it was more.
I don't think I can express how jealous I am right now, because I love this show and I want to meet Rick Grimes. But in tonight's episode, Richard laid out his plan. He came clean to Morgan when it failed, and when the whole hiding the cantaloupe thing ended up getting Benjamin killed instead of himself. And then ultimately we know that Morgan goes ahead and kills Richard in front of the Saviors. But he also makes a statement that says, we understand, we are loyal to the Saviors, we want to serve the Saviors. Do you think that this is Morgan kind of carrying out Richard's plan?
I do feel that way, because, Scott Gimple, who's the showrunner, producer, wrote this amazing episode, which I love. And if there was any way to get killed, this would be it. But I think, like, the moment where I make my plea to him about what we should do, and then when we get to meet the Saviors to hand over the one cantaloupe, he asked me, he says, did you tell Ezekiel? Which I told him I would tell Ezekiel. And I say I didn't. I think maybe at that point, he didn't have a plan of what he was going to do. Mm-hmm. But then I think he realized he might not be able to trust me, and that this was the right thing to do. So I think, like, he might have made that split decision right there. Didn't know what to do. He was losing it. And then he was like, no, this guy can't be trusted. This is the way to show the Saviors and how we can defeat them and beat them. So I think I think that's why he did it. And then he started losing it and started repeating some of the dialogue that I hadn't seen before. I loved it. I loved it. It was so well written.
Yeah, and you nailed that conversation between Richard and Morgan. That was a powerful scene, and you did such a great job. If Richard had a message to Morgan right now, other than "I'm sorry for messing with you," because I don't know why anybody would want to mess with Morgan. This guy is pretty crazy, and that seems clear. But what do you think that message would be?
I mean, just it would be follow through. You know, him and Carol are such important, pieces of the chess match to convince and get everybody together. Because Rick's already there. To have those two on board, if he could look down, he'd be like, follow through with what you did. I'm okay with you killing me, but make sure it's not in vain.
I've been calling Richard the voice of the audience, so that message makes perfect sense because everybody wants to see the kingdom and Morgan and Carol and Rick and everybody go fight the saviors, and the only one who would say it out loud for the longest time was Richard, and I mean, thank you for that because we were all screaming in agreement with you. But I suspect you don't know what's next for these characters because they probably stopped sending you scripts, I would imagine. Do you think the loss of Benjamin and now Richard will be enough to send King Ezekiel to war?
I think so, but I think there has to be one more element. He really is a smart person who's thinking things through. And I do think that he's just on the edge of being there, but I wonder, because I don't get the other scripts, I wonder if there's going to be one more thing that might really, really push him to, join with the Hilltop and Alexandria and the Heapsters, if that's going to happen too. So, but it's exciting. I can't wait.
If you could have played any other character on this show, who would it have been?
If I could have been another character on the show?
Anybody you want.
Oh, I would want to be Morgan. And
really?
I would actually need his acting ability to go with it because he's awesome.
Yeah, Lenny is seriously so talented. But you did, in playing Richard, get some really cool training for the zombie apocalypse. Better than anybody who's watching this show, I guarantee. So do you think you're ready when the zombie apocalypse actually happens here in the real world? Are you ready? You think you're going to be prepared?
I think I'm better prepared, but I don't think I'm fully prepared. I'm working on it. I have my water in my house, my rations, my weapons. So I'm slowly getting prepared.
This just turned into an episode of Doomsday Preppers. So, so now, what is next for you? Where can we see you again?
I have some things in the work right now. Nothing's committed. This whole thing is a crazy secret that you're on. And sometimes you can't even audition and tell people why you can't audition. So I'm getting back into that world right now, and hopefully some things will be coming up soon.
I'm ready to see you play a young Brian Mills. I'm telling you, I get a real Liam Neeson, Brian Mills vibe from this Richard portrayal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Karl. Great job on the show. Congratulations on all the success it has brought you. I really enjoyed this, and I'm so sorry to see you go, but at least it was a really cool send-off.
And I agree with that.